My boyfriend is very attached to his mother. He still lives with his mom. Almost every time he has a little fever, he calls his mom to come and help him.
But he's only 22.
Actually, he calls his mom about everything. He takes me on dates and treats me really well, but lately I've gone to the realization that his mom might actually be the one providing all of this to me.
Oh!
He's not paying for anything or providing anything for me. It's his mom.
This podcast represents the opinions of our hosts and guests. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. This podcast also does not establish a standard of care, doctor-patient, or client relationship. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or website. And because each person is so unique, all listeners are encouraged to connect with counseling and medical professionals for assistance with their personal journey. All people, places, and scenarios mentioned in the podcast have been changed to protect the privacy of those involved.
Welcome to We're Not Fine. I'm Dr. Talia Jackson.
And I'm Doug Jensen. We thank you for listening every week to our deep and thought-provoking conversations about relationships.
Welcome to another episode of
We're Not Fine.
But We Are Fine.
I think I hate that word. I really do. Which is, of course, why this podcast is named that. And, of course, we talk about everything mental health and relationship-oriented.
Yeah, we do. Have we been mentioning that every single time? I think it's in our intro.
I think it probably is. And I'm excited by it because I love that topic.
I'm excited about this topic.
Are you? What excites you about
boys. Because I think we're going to have different takes. It's a mailbag.
M-A-L-E or M-A-I-L?
Mama's boys are so sweet. Of course they should love their moms before all else.
Oof. That's because you have two sons and you're hoping that's how they turn out.
Love your mom.
I have a prediction, particularly.
I'm not interested. Thanks for asking.
I'm there for you when you grow up, buddy.
Have you ever dated a mama's boy?
That's a great question. I would say I've dated both men and women. But I'm going to stick with men for this conversation because they're boys. I think the first one did not have a great relationship with his mom and had a healthy sort of boundary around that. The second one, he was a mama's boy and he was Italian. And so it was a very strange.
If by strange you mean adorable.
No.
Oh, no, he was.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. So,
no.
And so there was a really enmeshed family system there, and that was not healthy. And it was a really difficult childhood that he had with some abuse in it. So I think
that awful.
Yeah, it was really, really rough.
Mama's boys a bad name.
But you might always and which is going to be part of our conversation probably. And then third, had a healthy relationship with his mom. I myself had an estranged relationship, but I knew how to take care of my mom toward the end of her life. So I don't know. I am just not one of those. Go ahead.
I can't stop myself from laughing inappropriately at the wrongest times. I wanted to hold a moment for your sad story.
It's not so sad. It's just kind of reality. What were you laughing at, though? What is humorous about what's going through your head?
Oh, my God. I just remembered. I don't know if any of you guys have heard. It is the funniest fucking podcast I've ever heard. Say more? You have to say it with a question mark. Oh my God. It is so fucking funny. So Amy Poehler has this podcast and she pretends to be a therapist. She doesn't have like a license or a degree. And so they have to call her Dr. Sheila, like with question marks. And it's so funny. I mean, it's like a parody, but what I was laughing about is that she had one episode. If you guys haven't listened, you really have to. But she had one episode that was like a mama's boy coming in, and the complaint was that the wife just didn't feel like she had any power, and the husband was always choosing his mother. And then they fast forwarded, the mom was hiding like in the pile of blankets, and she appeared in the middle of the episode, and then fast forward the whole thing, mom ends up walking out hand in hand with the son, and the wife is like in the pile of blankets. I think you would have to be there. But
I might have seen that episode because you told me to watch it. So I think I listened on the way to go back and forth from Chicago.
Sometimes a type of humor will tickle one person more than the other, but it's like a cringy, I don't know. I think it's freaking brilliant. But so going into Mama's Boys, and I think that's a real cautionary tale.
Especially given that episode.
But what's our actual mailbag? Maybe it's less tragic.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We shall see. I think it's probably in the same vein. So, is my boyfriend being childish about something he could fix?
Okay. Give it to me.
My boyfriend is very attached to his mother. He still lives with his mom. Almost every time he has a little fever, he calls his mom to come and help him.
But he's only 22.
Actually, he calls his mom about everything. I also feel like he doesn't know how to clean up after himself, and his mom does everything for him.
Oh.
He takes me on dates and treats me really well, but lately I've gone to the realization that his mom might actually be the one providing all of this to me.
Oh.
He's not paying for anything or providing anything for me. It's his mom.
Okay, I don't like this mailbag at all. It's really triggering. I feel threatened and offended, insecure about my parenting choices.
Uh-huh.
Ew.
This really affects the way that I see him. I seriously see him as a boy now.
Who picked this stupid
Hold
mailbag?
on. And obviously I'm not attracted to that emotionally or sexually.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't be either. When I was 22, I had my own apartment, pets that I alone provided for and took care of, cleaned my own apartment and clothes, had a full-time job, and overall was just super independent. So acting like that in the ripe age of 22 is very odd to me and against my own values. Boy, that's significant. How do I proceed in this situation? I'm wondering if this behavior is something he should try to get rid of, if I voice my concerns about it to him, or maybe I should just leave him and find a more independent and secure man.
I am full
You're having
cringe.
interesting reactions to that.
My shoulders are above my ears. I am going to say to Ava, because that's her name, thank you. I think I really needed to hear all of that. That's a very valid point, and I will do better to make sure that my 14 and 16-year-old sons become more independent and can afford the dates that they're going on because they are contributing members of society and that they know how to do laundry and dishes and that they can clean up after themselves, flush toilets, pick their socks up. I hear you, Ava. I hear you. I'm taking this seriously. Here are my thoughts about that. I'm owning that I'm feeling protective of the poor son and the glorious mother.
Oof.
So, no, I know. That's why I'm owning it.
Yeah.
That's my transference and countertransference. We have to talk about this. And so I would be worried for Ava. This is what I'm begging Ava. Don't make him choose between you and his mother. Shh. Don't make him choose. His mother. Okay, how about this?
That's about you.
Give this situation the benefit of the doubt that you might need to have a conversation with his mother. I agree that this is kind of gross and cringy and even gives me the ick. I completely understand what you're saying, but this is how I want you to proceed in the situation. I don't know if they know that their relationship is enmeshed and kind of dysfunctional. So can you give them the benefit of the doubt without making him choose by saying, like, this is the kind of relationship I would really respect, or these are the areas in which I think you could be more independent, or in these situations where you are just saying an automatic yes to what your mom wants instead of checking in with me about what we want as a team. I would really like you to start incorporating me into that first rung decision making, because the alliance feels weird. I agree, but do you not agree that she should not already go in saying you're weird and you have to choose between me and your mother?
This is what I think. Honestly, I feel like I don't have a lot of details here. So I'm finding myself thinking, does he have a job? Does he want a job?
Fair.
Is he a student? Is he living at home because he's currently in some kind of graduate school or law school
I mean,
or
he's
undergrads?
22, undergrad.
Undergrad or anything. Like, what is his circumstance? And I would honestly want to know, like, what is his goals? If he said, right now I'm dependent on living at home and I do get some financial support from my mom, and I don't know where dad is, by the way. I put dad in a circle. Like, I don't know if there's a father figure involved as well.
Maybe it's a less cringy relationship.
It might be. I don't know. And so the reality is I'm finding myself wanting to assess more, and I didn't get a lot of details from this particular mailbag. Like, I want to know, is he someone who says, right now, I just hate leaning on my mom this way? There's nothing wrong, by the way. If mom is somebody who cares really well for him during a fever or a cold, I call my co-parent, my ex-wife, I call her if I have a physical issue going on or if my friends do. I'm like, what do we do with this? Because she's really smart and she knows what she's doing. And and my friend Sasha as well is another nurse. So I'm glad to rely on the people just as they rely on me for some mental health, emotional, social stuff. We just kind of support each other in that way. So there's nothing wrong if she's actually good at this,
And maybe
asking
she'll
for her.
also bring you into the umbrella and be loving to you.
So I think there's a part of this that, figuring out kind of what's really going on here. If this guy is someone who said, I really hate it right now, it's not always going to be this way. I cannot wait to get self-employed, get out of school, find a job, and my plan is to move out the minute that happens because I really would love some private time with you. That's very different than someone who says, this is really comfortable. I like it this way. I love being taken care of and parented by this person.
Breastfeeding at the age of 22. But also, Doug, look at this. She's 26 and he's 22. And that 4-year age difference is huge in this particular scenario. A 22-year-old boy that's still in college and a 26-year-old woman who might be thinking about marriage and career and potentially like having children or like buying a house. This feels like an adult and mere babe.
But I don't think he's a mere babe, but I also think, because by 22 I was married, I had a career, I was getting my education taken care of.
That's crazy.
But things are
So young.
This is triggering you.
I mean,
You are like
20?
hyped up on this one.
You were 22 and married with a career?
Oh yeah. I had my psych degree from my university and was moving forward, but I didn't have access to financial support from my folks.
Right.
I didn't always have food. So I relied on people in my life to give me what I needed.
You had to be much more independent at a much earlier age. And that's what she's saying too.
Yeah.
Is when I was a year younger than him, I had my own apartment and pets. And like I did everything by myself at 21. So I don't know. These are
she's me in this situation. And I think the question is like, and I would ask those questions. What is his job plan? What is his education plan? Like, I think those are the missing pieces for me.
Yes.
So I don't think by itself, living with your mom and relying on him for some stuff, if you're uncomfortable with the financial piece of him using his mom's credit card or his mom's cash in order to pay for your dates, I think it's really fair to say, so this is bugging me a little bit. Can we do something different?
Right. Or like, if you can't afford the dates we're going on, we're not going to go on those dates because I really want to feel like I'm in a relationship with you and not your mother.
So I'm going to tell you something. Based on how you wrote this, your last question of should you just leave him and find
Yes, that didn't sound super secure in the relationship.
I kind of feel like maybe. Because I think it's like any other relationship that we've discussed on this podcast. The longer you said something so significant, I circled it or underlined it, that it's against your values.
Yeah.
Values are critically important in a situation like this. They're just critically important to kind of determine, is this someone I could grow old with? Is this someone who, I want to be in this relationship with, if you're thinking about, moving this forward to a longer term situation. So I really do. I think you need to kind of evaluate, like, is this person in line with your values?
Yeah, I think that's right. And also I think a part of what I'm feeling a little tender about is like I think like there's an interculture, like a cultural value system or different people who treat, intergenerational living differently or people like, I don't know, I'm Jewish and Israeli, and it's like people stay in their homes with their parents until they, I don't know, move
So is there a
out.
cultural piece is what you're wondering?
Yes, which I wonder, like a lot of the Mediterranean cultures and a lot of the Asian cultures and Latino cultures, it's not that weird for somebody to be living at home when they're in college. And that I feel a little, I don't know, a little tender and protective around that. However, that doesn't change my mind that I completely agree with what Doug was saying is that if this isn't your value system and this is something that kind of grosses you out that someone could be living at home when they're 22 or that their parents are helping them financially because that was not the way your parents were, that's not the way your culture, that's not what your culture values. Like, I respect that. And if this isn't the right fit for you or you can't respect him, I think it's really good that you know that.
I also will say, of course, as is my usual fallback, communicate, communicate, communicate. So
Right.
it's really important at this junction in the relationship for you to just say, you know what, look, some things are kind of bugging me here. I don't mind that you're, because I obviously, you knew that he was living with his mom when you started dating. So when did this become an issue and what is going on for you? And those are the things to follow up on. I just want to check in with you. It's making me uncomfortable that your mom is somehow taking care of our dates. I think the part that I'm not hearing, but kind of triggers me a little bit is I don't also think, I'm not sure if you're feeling traditional about like a man has to do this. You want a man like this. If that's the case, that's a different situation. But if you just want to make sure that it's the two of you together, and I don't sense that that's it, by the way. But I've worked with people where, they're looking for the man to take care of the woman and, in those heterosexual relationships. And I don't think that's what's happening
Right,
here.
that's
I
an
think,
interesting take. I hadn't thought about that, but maybe.
right? I can't tell. There's so much missing in this, but I want to put that out there. If that's your like value system that you get the car door open or the door open or whatnot, there's nothing wrong with that as long as it works for your relationship, right?
I was thinking something even potentially grosser in like a similar vein of like the
Yep.
traditional roles,
Yeah.
but maybe she wants to be the one and this isn't, it's only grosser if you think about like, I was thinking like maybe she wants to be in the role of the mother. That's gross. But if it's like, I want to be the one that you lean on when you're unwell, I want to be the one that you ask to come and bring you a cup of soup and take care of you when you're sick. I want to be there for you instead of you automatically just reaching out to your mom. That feels like healthy.
It did just dawn on me that she talks about mom is funding their dates. I'm not sure why she is not.
Oh.
Right?
Things have taken a turn.
Because there's a part of me that thinks if you want to keep it to your relationship and keep that dependency away, have a conversation about it. Say, I'd rather pay for things right now. My ex-wife, by the way, was a successful RN really early into our relationship, and I was still in college. She paid for everything. So I think, there's a
That's
part
pretty
of...
sweet.
Well, absolutely. It's very sweet. She's still very sweet.
She is.
Yeah. So I would find myself thinking, I have so many questions about the dynamic here. And when you talk about values, if you're uncomfortable with it, bring it up and find a different way of doing it. And it might be that you pay for a while, as long as there's a game plan for mutual contribution to this relationship.
I agree. And I think it's really important that we figure out what his game plan is. If he's so comfortable taking money from his parents, or if he's actually a little grossed out by it too.
I agree. I think there's a lot of variables.
A lot of variables. Ooh, this one, you're right. Ooh, there was a lot there for me. Did you drudge this one up from the bottom of the pile?
What was so funny is your energy was really high about this. And I'm like, I think you have two boys who are like,
oh, I know. And I'm totally picturing that this is written by one of their future girlfriends.
So yeah, one of your children's names is actually attached to this.
I knew it. I knew it.
He texted me privately.
You know what? Ava, I appreciate this.
You're making up a name.
I made up a name because it's Ava and Justin. Or that sounds like a famous influencer couple. I hear you loud and clear, and I am going
Stop
to
enabling your kids and
stop
choosing who
doing
they
everything
date
for them and giving them everything.
It's hard as a parent, by the way. I just want to say from a parent's perspective, not that
It's hard.
it has been hard for me not to engage in my kids' relationships.
Well, because you want to. Like, I want to love who they love.
Yeah.
But if one of my boys was dating someone who is like, there's no room for your mother in this relationship, that would be my worst nightmare.
Foreshadowing is what
Dun, dun, dun. You guys, we love you. This was awesome. I've learned a lot. I should be paying you. Here's my check. Where can they find us?
Yeah, this riled you up inside.
It did. I'm full on cringe.
We'renotfine.com. Find us there, subscribe. You will keep updated on all of our events, etc. And you can ask us anything on there. If you have a situation that you're struggling with related to your mental health and relationships, if you have something that you want us to continue talking about, I got feedback from one person that they wanted us to keep talking about giving the benefit of the doubt and what that really looks like and what that might look like.
Yeah.
And I loved that question because it kind of brings up like, let's keep talking about it. So anything you want to know more about, anything you want us to cover, any topic, there's nothing off limits whatsoever. Please reach us there. Wearenotfine.com.
And we've got some fun TikTok videos out there. Thank you, Dig. And then we are on YouTube, which I think is like it's like the money shot. That was, I posed for YouTube. Instagram, Dr. Talia Jackson, Douglas L. Jensen with an EN, and We're Not Fine Pod. Like, subscribe. We're on all of the platforms. I'm sure you've seen us by now. Send it to your friends and your enemies. Can I say something really fun?
About your energy level today?
This is bipolar 1.
There's some mania going on, folks. This is what that looks like.
I think I've had a little too much green tea.
That might be it. What were you going to say?
Are you also having the experience that more and more people are like, oh my God, I've heard of you guys, or my friends talked about you, or I've listened to one of your podcast episodes? Really? That hasn't happened to you once?
It has happened, but I haven't had more of it. I'm just so grateful to everyone that I work with because some of my clients are listening and they're utilizing things. I had a couple I was working with the other day and they're like, we learned not to drop the rope. And then I had another couple say, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I saw a podcast on it.
I really loved those little like couples therapist 6 best strategies. That was really fun.
It was really fun. And I think there's going to be more of those kind of series that we do as well.
Thank you
for
guys.
listening. Thanks for listening and stay well. We will see you next week.